Hello guys, AlexTheGrumpyOne here and welcome to episode 2 on the Corvette Stingray 1975. So as you can see, I've done the top ball joint as the new unit on there. Well, obviously I'm going to take you through the whole process of me getting to this stage. So there's the old one. The seal was split. You've probably seen it in my previous video when I explained what jobs I'm going to be doing. So that's completely split, dry, and it's knocking. Also this one, it was riveted in like original ones. And that was a bit of a pain in the ass to get off, to be honest, but we got there in the end. I had to modify the new one slightly, make the hole slightly bigger so I can fit the normal bolts with nylock nuts. So that's on there now. The job is done, but like I said, I'm going to take you through the journey that took me to get to this stage. It was a bit of a pain in the ass, like I said, but I'm happy that I've done it. I know people say to replace the whole arm, but I've done it this way. I've learned something. I'm happy with that. And like I said, with tools I got in here, which is not a lot, I've managed to get to this stage. So yeah, that's a bonus for me. And stay tuned now guys, I'm going to show you what I've been up to. Right guys, so I'm going to clean it up now as much as I can anyway. Right, so next step will be getting the pin out of there. So spray it with maintenance spray or WD-40. Now we'll have to squeeze it together. So I'm trying to hold it together and tap it out. That's coming out. Right, so I managed to get 19mm deep socket on there, 3/8 with the wobbly adapter on there. Now let's try and get it undone. Right, that's good. Let's move it now. That's the knot off. I'm gonna put it back on, just a couple of threads, because now I'm gonna have to hit it with the hammer there to release the ball joint from the hub. So all I have to do is just smack it with the hammer there and it will release it. Right, so like I said guys, now I have to hit that with the hammer to release the pressure because it's seized up in there. There you go. It's nice and free now, so obviously when we undo the knot, that will come off. Right guys, so before I undo it, there's going to be a lot of pressure due to that spring obviously pushing on the bottom arm. So what I've done is I lowered the car all the way down, put the jack under it so it supports the whole hub and the bottom arm, so the spring is not just going to go crazy while I'm undoing that, releasing it. So now that it's all supported and I've kind of cancelled the pressure, I can feel that it's loose there now. Now I can undo it and that's gonna save me from having any issues from the spring going ballistic. Right, so I'm using grips just to hold the thread in there, the ball joint, because sometimes it can seize up a little bit. And I'm just going to undo it. Obviously the pressure is off now, so I'm just going to undo the knot. Just be careful when you're doing this. Right, that's the nut off. And like I said, because you took the pressure off the spring by jacking it up, now you can see there's no pressure. If I release the jack a little bit, there you go, that is just enough for you to work on it now. And like I said, it's still, there's no pressure because the jack is holding the spring pressure on it, so that's all good. Like I said, now you can grind them off. Right guys, so like I said, now we've got 3 of them to cut off, little rivets there as you can see. So I need to cut them off to be able to get the ball joint out. Right, so in my workshop at the moment, I haven't really got a proper grinder to cut them off, but I got that, so that should do it. And I got a cut off disc pretty much that I can use as well to cut them off. It doesn't matter if I'm going to damage the top, because this is obviously part of the ball joint that I'm going to be replacing, because you can see this plate is a part of the ball joint, so it doesn't matter if I'm going to damage it a little bit. So like I say, if I use the disc to cut that off, or just use that to grind it off, that will do, and then just knock them out with the hammer. So I'm going to try both of them and see which one's going to be easier, but the best option for this will be a proper grinder disc. That will do the best, but like I said, I haven't got that yet. That's somewhere on my list to buy. So let's try and cut them off now. Right, so let's try get the end line on here and try and grind this one off. Right, that's that one done. Maybe I need locking out now. Now I'm just gonna try cut off this on the other one, just to see the difference. Right guys, so I grinded the tops off. As you can see, I think the first method worked the best and the quickest. So now I should be able just to use a punch and knock them out, and then we'll be able to get the ball joint out. Right, so now that I cut them off, I'm gonna try and hit it under it, see if it lifts up a little bit. Now it will be easy if I take the whole arm out and do it that way. I'm trying to do it in situ. Right guys, so after trying to do it in place, obviously I don't think it's going to work out that well. It did move, it started coming out, but I think it's just going to take lots of time to get it off. So I think the best thing will be probably just take the top arm off. Probably should have done it to start with, but I did try and do it in situ. So I'm going to take the top arm off. Obviously then I'm going to need readjusting, but like I said, I'm going to take it off and just knock them out using 2 blocks that are going to hold it in place, and I'm just going to knock them out with the punch. And I think that's going to make the job a lot easier. So like I said, it's the first time I'm working on it, so I'm trying all the ways that I know, and I'm going to go for that one, and then we'll see what's going to happen. Right, so I put a bungee there just to hold the hub with a decent caliper so it doesn't stretch the brake hose. So for now, from what I can see, to get the arm off, I have to undo the nuts, that one there, and the other one there, and then it should come off. But to get that off, I can see that that's not gonna come off enough without removing the radiator cover, the fan cover. So I think I have to remove that off first. So I'm gonna have enough space to obviously come off the thread so I can remove the arm. So I'm gonna do that now. Right, so I'm gonna remove the brackets. I'm gonna use ratchet. Don't want to use the gun on this, just to feel what they feel like. Actually it feels quite good, because I don't want anything seizing up and breaking off. Trying to be as careful as I can on this. So let's remove this side bracket. That's that off. So now we've got more movement on the radiator, so hopefully that'll be enough to get that cover off. Right guys, so I managed to move the cover off just enough. Like I said, it has been cut before on both sides. I suspect it probably was for the same reason as what I'm doing here now. So I managed to move it away just enough. The only thing I've got to do now is undo the nut on the shock, because when you start taking it off, as you can see, that will just hit the thread now and won't go any further, and you can't even lift it up enough to move it. So I'm just gonna undo it enough to go past the thread, and then the arm should finally come off. Right, so I'm gonna try and get the bar in there, lift it up in the same time. Now that the thread is undone, lift it and try and get it off. Lovely. That's that off. There we go, guys. That's our top arm off. Right guys, so as you can see, we got the arm out, and here we can have a better look at how obviously grinded it all off. You can see that that one was starting to move when I had it in situ, but now we got it on the metal blocks. Got wood there supporting it, so it's leveled, and now we're going to be able to use a punch to hopefully punch them out. So that's the next step, guys. So I got the right size punch there, so let's try and hit it, see what's going to happen. Right guys, so I'm gonna try and grind these ends off as well. Hopefully that'll make it better. Right guys, so done pretty much the same thing as I done at the top. Grinded them off without damaging the arm itself, so it's properly on the level. I took kind of the mushroom off the top, so now it should be free. I'm gonna try knocking it out from this side now. I hope it will release it and make it easier. Right guys, so I'm going to try and use the punch again on this side. There we go. Lovely. That's that one done. The whole thing started to move now. That's a good sign. That's that one done. Brilliant. That made it much easier, guys. There you go, I learned something new. Now we got the ball joint finally out of there. Look at that. It's great. Right guys, so this is one of my favorite bits, is where I get to clean all of this, all rust and everything else, and obviously inside as well, so I can fit the new ball joint properly. Also, we'll have to make the hole slightly bigger. It's not a lot, so it's not going to affect the strength of it, because like I said, I had to modify slightly the ball joint so I can fit the normal bolts in it with nylock nuts, which is quite important, so it locks in properly in place. So like I said, I'm going to clean all this off now, drill them a little bit bigger, and fit the new ball joint in, and then we can put the arm back in. Right, let's get to cleaning. Oh, that looks much better already. On this side. Get a bit of sandpaper. Lovely. Now it's time to drill the holes. Right guys, so the ball joint was modified to fit 8 in there, as you can see. So that's what we're gonna do with that as well. See if it goes through all right. Lovely, so that should go through now. Perfect. Right guys, I think we're ready to put the upper arm back in there. Hopefully they'll go back in alright. Lovely. That's on now. Right guys, so as you can see, the arm is back on. I started the nuts up. I haven't done them up because obviously now I have to push the arm out and fit them shims that I had in before. Now I'm going to fit them as they were before. The car will need tracking doing later and camber and everything else, but that's when everything's done. So I'm going to fit the shims, obviously the ones I took off are there and there as they were, and then do it all up. Right guys, so here we got the arm. I'm gonna put a little bit of grease around there where the ball joint's gonna sit. Just watch out so you don't split the seal. Just push it in. Lovely, look at that. So what I have to do now is get the nuts in. That fits in perfectly. So what I have to do now is put the washers under it and put the nut on and do them up. Right guys, so I'm using the jack again because of the spring to jack it up, and so the weight of the car is pretty much on the floor. So I'm going to jack it up and get the ball joint back in there. So I'm going to leave the camera here just to show you. Obviously get the nut off. Now I'm going to be guiding, while jacking it up, I'm going to be guiding the hub back on the thread. Right, so let's try jacking it up. That's it. Let's get the nut on there. So it needs to go up a little bit more. Starting the nut up. And just wiggle it a little bit so it drops in properly. Do the nut up a bit more. Let me just drop it to readjust it slightly. As you can see, it does lift the vehicle quite a lot, because the spring is obviously quite strong. So I'm just going to go up a bit more. Now I think we're ready to do that up. So tie up as tight as you can, and then there is going to be obviously a hole they're going to align and fit the split pin in. I'm going to show you now in a second. Right guys, so like I said, I got the split pin here. I'm going to show you in the old one, you got that hole there that you're supposed to, after the nut is done up, you align the thread and you just push it in. Then you're supposed to open it up and bend them so it locks the nut in there. It's like a security feature. So the other thing I would say, don't drop the pin on the floor, because sometimes they're busted to find. So like I said, I've done the nut up as tight as it goes. I've backed it up a little bit, and now the pin fits in there. So I locked it in a proper place. All I have to do now is push them using a screwdriver or pliers. Just open them up. Trying to get my big head in the camera. There you go. So that's not going anywhere now. And I'm pretty sure the ball joint part is done now. All we got left now is obviously do the shock up that thread that we got there at the top and fit the cover on the radiator and all the mountings, and then the job is pretty much done. Right guys, so I think this is the job done on the top ball joint now. I think it will be the end of this episode. Like you see, we got there in the end. I got the old one here. Obviously the seal is completely split. There's play in it because obviously it's been dry for quite a while. So yeah, we got there in the end after a bit of messing about, I suppose. But I mean, I never said I know everything. I got there in the end. We got it off. I got the new one on. I've seen on the forum people say they usually replace the whole arm. But like I say, I wanted to learn something, and I think I did. I mean, it's there, it's done up, I modified it slightly. Hopefully it'll stay on. We'll see. But yeah, it's on there, done it up. Everything's back on now, and I think I'm going to be moving on to the bottom ball joint for next episode, guys. So yeah, we got there in the end. Thank you very much for watching this, guys. I hope this was helpful. If not, let me know. But like I said, I've learned something from it. I'm happy. So I think it's time to move on to the next one. So thank you very much for watching this video, guys. Stay tuned and I'll see you soon. Bye.